Hey, Boston.
What up?
How you doing, brother? How was your week?
Good, man. We got a fun podcast coming up, huh?
I'm very excited. Hey, you look like you already started cutting. You really did start cutting, didn't you?
No, I haven't. I haven't yet.
Well, it's good lighting. You look.
No, I'm just off the steroids, man. I'm getting skinny.
Yeah. How you doing, Blue?
Good.
Is Blue there? Or he
Yeah,
doesn't
Blue's
even-
here.
Yeah. So what's new this week?
Not much.
What have you been up to? How's
Shit,
Jackson?
USA's is coming up. So the Friday's prejudging.
Is it really? I didn't even hear about the USA's.
Yeah, that's the one that Phil Viz is doing.
Oh, Phil Viz is doing the USA's to get his pro card?
Yeah, he always does that show. Yeah,
Really? He does it every year?
almost. He's been doing it. He's been either doing USA's, Nationals, or North Americans for the last few years.
This is so weird because I never knew Phil competed at all, and the one time I saw Phil training was like years ago. I saw this like video of Nick Trigili and Phil in like a gym training. I don't know if you ever saw that stuff. Hey, Blue, you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me clear?
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, how you guys doing?
How you doing?
Same thing, man. Over and over.
How's Anakin?
Good, growing.
Okay. Remind me, how big was he when he came out? Because today I went for the last ultrasound. It's a little bit late, although the due date's in like 2 days. And
Yeah.
they told me they think my daughter's around 9 pounds.
Wow, that's a big
Wow,
baby.
that's big.
I'm very proud of her. Yeah. I was very happy. But how big was Anakin when he came out again?
I think he was 8'7". Was it 8'7" or something like that?
They
So
probably
for my family, that's huge because we're hobbits. So it's like that's not normal to be that big.
That's true. Hey, before we get started, I want to review the Chicago Pro, but I wanted to ask you something, Blue. I was thinking about this today. When you were a comic book fan as a kid, or maybe as an artist, did you more like who was your favorite superhero or villain?
Wolverine or Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. So you were more into super. So this is the weird thing about me. I was obsessed with comic books since I was a kid, but I always related to the villain.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, I know. Now that I think about it, looking back, I've actually been thinking about it a lot. Like, why do I relate? Like, my favorite character, I was just telling Tony Hughes today because Tony Hughes posted a picture of him with those Wolverine type things on the side of. So I was telling him he looked like Victor Creed, my favorite character, which was Sabretooth.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, what is it? Why did I like villains? Boston, did you associate with villains or heroes when you used to watch cartoons or comic books or?
Heroes for sure.
You know what? I think it was because I felt disenfranchised as a child. I always related to like Venom when he would be locked in a room in a dungeon doing bench presses, training, by himself. It was kind of like this gritty him against the world thing. Anyway, it's a little suspicious. I bet the commentators will say something. Let me know if any of you guys also liked villains. It's a very unusual thing. I wonder what it says about psychology. All right, guys, before we begin with the Chicago Pro, I really want to quickly show you guys something. This guy is Aaron Burke. Please follow him, listeners, if you aren't already. Aaron is a sponsored athlete from Gorilla Mind. He's been coached by my friend Vigorous Steve.
That guy just contacted me.
I know he did. Exactly. Yeah. We were talking. He was asking me. That's the thing. So he was wondering about what coach he should choose for the future because Steve is stopping coaching, and I was suggesting Bleu potentially. But I just wanted to show you both Bleu and Bostin. You checked him out, Bleu, already?
Yeah, we're just trying. We've just been playing a little bit of matching up the time because he's in China.
I know he's in China, which is so interesting.
Ooh, his legs are trash.
So he had an ACL tear. He used to be a rugby player. He's only had one off season. He gained 25 pounds. He says he's a super hyper responder. Like he uses very little. What do you think of him, Boston? We only see front shots.
All right, I'll be honest. I don't think his physique's good at all. I mean, his structure is bad. I mean, if we did a rate your genetics, I wouldn't give him anything really too impressive. But
that's what I'm trying to do.
If anyone could do anything with him, it'll be Bleu. But Bleu, you could admit these pictures are not too impressive over here.
I would like to see him a lot leaner. I can tell the lower body, definitely, needs to come up. But again, you never know with some of these guys because sometimes it's something small, sometimes it's something big that can spark new growth. I've seen it on so many people,
Well, he has a thick upper body, but his legs need major work.
Yeah. His legs need work. And I would like to see him like completely pilled and dry. But yeah, he's got a really good upper body. I mean, and some of his side shots look pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's thick from the side, huh? See that? That's cool.
So
yeah.
why is Steve no longer coaching him?
Steve is trying to focus more on YouTube and stuff like that, and so he's most of his clients he's trying to graduate them. By the way, also Aaron has a podcast with Steve. It's called Muscle Nomads because Steve lives in Thailand, he lives in China. But anyway, I want to show you guys that. Let's talk about the Chicago Pro. So should we do open first or two?
Yeah, let's do open first.
Okay. So I tried to get good pictures.
Blue, we have to bring up Seth Shaw because everyone's been asking.
Wait, so I tried to get good pictures. I could get of the top 4, these are like the best ones I could get. I have some of Roelly, and I have some I think these are maybe, no, these are those two. So we'll go through them, but, oh, damn, these things. Which pictures should I use? You think the red ones or the blue ones?
These are good.
These are good? So what did you think, Bostin? Oh, this includes Roelly. What did you think, Bostin?
I thought, okay, so I'm just not impressed with Hunter's condition. I mean, he's put together really well, you know what I mean, muscularly. But I think the condition, especially from the back, go to a back double bicep.
Yeah, let me get one. 1 second. Sorry, I'm very bad at this. Apologize, guys. Oh, here, this one will be good, I think.
Yeah, so you see his back is just not really detailed. It's kind of watery, and I don't know. What did you think, Blue?
I think the open right now is really, really watered down. I mean, it's the 212s and the classic guys are showing up on the money left and right. I would love to see Labrada absolutely pilled out, dry. That one guy, what's his name? Brett, the guy.
He was shredded. He was shredded. Yep.
Yeah, he looked good. I would love to see. I always forget his name. The dude in the orange.
And the 1 second, sorry.
The black dude.
Oh,
I thought he got overlooked a little bit.
He gets overlooked at almost every show.
It's
crazy. I like the other dude too. Is he Middle Eastern or is he Spanish?
Yeah, he's Middle Eastern. He's from Egypt.
I like that dude's physique. But still, overall, it's just like, you know what I'm saying?
You know who preps that guy is Andrew Vu preps that Shaban guy. And he seems like he can't nail him. He's always a little watery. He's always over. He posts pictures a few weeks out or a few days out. He's always shredded. And then on show day, he's watery. I don't know if he stresses out and holds water or if Vu is loading him too hard. I don't know.
Sometimes, I mean, you just never know what goes on behind the scenes. But like his genetics and the way he's, structured and everything, he's got a great physique. But I would like to see him, 100% on stage. But Hunter, just so much potential, man. It's just neat. I've never seen him shredded. I've never seen him dry.
I've never seen him dry either, and I don't know why they keep rewarding it. I mean, I honestly had Max winning this show, to be honest with you. I don't know why I don't know. He's bigger. He's improved. His legs are up. I mean, and then I had that Brett guy. That Brett guy I guess you could say he could have won too. I don't know. I'm a conditioning guy, so when I see a guy like Hunter that has a really watery backside, it's hard for me to be oh, he should have won. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you guys something? As someone, I don't understand this. Can I ask you guys something? Check out Labrada's bicep. Check out Max's bicep. You can clearly see the biceps. Then look at Brett. This picture isn't that great, but when I saw Brett's double bicep, there's no definition inside. Is that because of Synthol?
I don't know, but I will tell you what. Jansen is big on spot injections in his arms. I'm not saying Synthol injections, but he's big on his clients putting gear in his arms. Oh. I know a couple of his guys that have told me that he specifically tells them to put steroids in their arms. And Synthol usually will not blur definition if you shoot it deep enough because there's no inflammation. But if you shoot steroids in your arms, there's chemicals and drugs that are going to inflame the muscle, and it definitely can affect the separation.
What about so is Brett the reason why is the reason everyone's talking about Brett because of his conditioning?
Yes, conditioning, because he's on the smaller side.
And Labrada was apparently his whole purpose this year, he said, was to bring up his back. So I think he was working on getting. So is the reason he can't get peeled because of how young his muscle is?
No, you can get shredded, man. I've gotten way drier than that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. You were very shredded actually when you first gained the muscle. It was like within 9 months. So
I think this guy needs to get on Blue's fish regimen.
I don't know what I'm.
You know what's crazy though? I think some of these guys, you know, they have a hard time because they're looking at that scale. Their clothes are feeling different. They're scared because they don't feel that fullness. They're not getting a crazy pump in the gym. If you disregard that stuff, embrace being flat, and just get nasty pilled, there's always a time for that glycogen to come back in and pump up and all that stuff. But that should only be on game day.
Yeah, you're so right, man, because it's funny you mention that. All these guys are always, in every interview, they'll be like, I'll be 5 pounds heavier this year. I'll be 7 pounds heavier this year. They're always talking about their weight. I think that's the biggest thing. I think you hit the nail on the head on that.
Yeah. Like, you remember, what was it, the year that Brandon Curry won the Arnold? What was he, like 13 or 15 pounds less? Everybody was freaking out and thought he looked so much better, and he was 15 pounds less. And I tell my guys that all the time, and I bring up, you know, Sean Clarita for an example. The dude's beating guys that weigh 50 pounds more. It's just because he doesn't care. He knows to just get nasty pilled, because as soon as one of these dudes stands next to him, they're getting exposed.
Exactly.
I would like to see a lot more conditioning. I mean, like, just I miss seeing guys just dug out nasty. But, you know, it's, you know, kind of the trend right now, and it's being rewarded. So.
Blue, since I'm not a bodybuilder, just to explain to me, is what you're saying, like, when someone's leading up to a show the last 8 weeks or whatever, they don't want to lose the glycogen stores in their muscle because it affects them psychologically, so they can't cut calories low enough to be able to get rid of all the fat. And then, but what you're saying is, like, you could let the glycogen go out, even if you're weaker for a bit, lose all the fat, and then I guess before the competition, reload the glycogen and then dry out again?
Or you know, sometimes it's in waves. You know, sometimes you got to come down the hill and drag for a little bit, you know, get refueled, then come back down the hill again. So that way, you know, even with my guys that I get flat, every now and then they have to have a little bit of carbs, so that way their body's familiar with, you know, positioning the carbs, taking them in, processing. Because if you go too long, you know, then you're going to have issues. But
that's the reason for refeeds during the few weeks before the competition. That's the only reason for refeeds is because it mechanically makes them function better, huh?
And refeeds can also speed the metabolism up.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Is sometimes it's like throwing logs on a fire. You know, it makes things go even crazy. It just depends on the person, but I do see that a lot. You know, guys that just are like, you know what, my shirts I'm swimming in, I don't feel big. You know, all that type of stuff. My lifts are dropping in the gym. And I always tell them, they don't know what you weigh when you cross the stage. They don't care what you lift. They don't care what you look like 9 weeks out. It's all about what you look like the day of the show. And you see the guys that always come in their all-time best and just nasty, dry, and shredded. They always tell you that story of, you know what? I really suffered this prep. It was hell. I didn't care. You know, it was miserable. I was leaning against the walls to stand up. Those are always the stories of the guys that just bring it, because they know it's a temporary thing. And then when they reintroduce the carbs, you know, and do what they need to do at the end, they can bring it. But the problem is, you know, sometimes they're chasing a number on the scale or that feeling. But I'm big on just embracing the flatness and just suffering.
One comment I want to make is these Egyptian guys. Look at the thighs. I mean, this doesn't show. It's not a good picture, but this guy and him and Rami, they all have these quads. I think it's
huge legs. Huge legs.
Okay, so this isn't the best picture of Roelly because he actually looks great there. But so what do you guys think happened to Roelly? So there are two theories people have been floating around. One is that he tried to get extra lean and small and it didn't work out for him. The other theory is that he hurt his knee, right? And then he's
too small. He's downsized.
Or his drugs are fake. Seriously, look at that shot right there. Look at that. No, I'm joking, obviously. Okay. but I'm just like, you see that shot, and then, you know, in your mind, you know, visually, you see what Roelly normally looks like, and it's two different people.
If he wasn't with the Camel Crew, I would agree with you on the fake drugs, but there's no way they're getting anything fake.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think they are. I'm only joking. My point is that it's definitely a different person that he brought this time. I mean,
yeah, I think Leo. I think he had to have an injury, man, because his legs are way downsized. Man, I think he tried to get so shredded, and he just flattened out.
Yeah, the thing is, like, when you, unfortunately, I really like Roelly myself. When you could see him on stage, like walking, he would get relaxed and his belly would come out. And with the belly compared to his size, it was actually, he no longer had like a nice midsection anymore. It was like really exposed. Okay, let's look at
his posing, right? His posing was off too.
Yeah, also the actual pose as well. So this is the 212. I usually don't watch the 212 personally. I don't really know what's going on, but so this is Keon. This is Jewett. This is this guy that Palumbo prepared, I think. And this guy is really awesome. I don't know who he is.
That guy was awesome.
He's Spanish.
I had him winning. No, he's Egyptian.
Oh, he's another Egyptian. Yeah, with great quads. Yeah. I thought he should have won too, Bostin. I
had him winning.
That same. He was perfect.
Let me ask you this. I don't know why the reward. Okay, bodybuilding, obviously, shape is obviously necessary in structure. I don't know why they keep rewarding guys that aren't fully in shape. Like, Keon was not in shape. You turn him around and you go to the back shots, he was not in shape.
Okay, but I have a weird argument, bro. I want to point out something. This guy has better shape than Keon, and I'll show you why. Well, it won't show, but let me show you something interesting. If Keon does not do a vacuum, his waist looks like shit. First of all, he has no abs because he's totally split. Zero abs. Zero. Look at that. Like, completely gone. And actually, I wish my assistant put a picture where Keon is not doing the vacuum. When he doesn't do the vacuum, his waist is wider than this guy's. Same width. It's just the vacuum. Even this side gets wider. This guy's actually taller than him.
I had Keon in probably third or fourth. The guy on the right should have beat him too.
Same. I thought I didn't know what I was talking about. That's exactly what I saw.
Go to a back double bicep shot if you have any.
Yeah, I have one. Next. Yeah.
See? How the fuck do you give Keon over that guy in the middle?
He literally has nothing better than, except maybe his hamstring shows a bit more.
Look how soggy his glutes are.
I'm not into glutes personally. You guys really like glutes. I don't.
You have to have glutes.
I know, but
if Keon ever gets as lean as like Sean Clarita,
it's over.
Over. I mean, it'll be scary. I tell people that all the time.
But Bleu, don't you agree that they shouldn't just go, okay, this guy's genetically has good shape, we're going to give him the W? Don't you think if they're off conditioning-wise, they should dock him?
I personally believe that because you know what? It'll push them to take their conditioning to another level because if you constantly reward it, they're never going to come in built, you know?
Exactly.
And I like the dude, the short dude there. If that guy got pilled, he'd be absolutely insane.
But can you explain to me why Keon's shape is better than his? Please explain to me. His waist.
The quads. He has like a Sean Roden quads. I don't know, his back popping out like that. Like if you go to a front double, it's kind of apparent. But honestly, Leo, the guy
double is his best pose.
The guy in the middle is beautiful shape as well. But
right?
He's way better condition.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If he could do a vacuum, he would. If he could do a vacuum, he would have won, I think.
But that guy's waist is actually smaller than Keon's at the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. It's a smaller waist. The only difference is he can't do a vacuum.
No, and Keon's lats flare better. Lats.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, if Keon gets shredded, he's going to be hard to beat. But you know what? Like Bleu said, he's not going to get shredded if they keep rewarding him like this.
So you think he's the next 212 Olympia champion?
I mean, if he can get shredded. I mean, if.
What about that Steve Lorius guy? Apparently, Phil Viz
just started working with him. He's doing Tampa in 2 weeks, so we'll see.
Interesting. All right.
So, wait, before we go, we got to talk about the biggest shit show disaster in the whole show.
Wait, what?
Seth Shaw.
I don't know if I have pictures. Who is this?
No, he literally he got dead last. So,
okay.
Anyways. This guy is so delusional, man. Like everyone tells him he's worked with Bleu, he's worked with Phil Viz, he's worked with Dominic Cardone, he's worked with Chris Aceto. This guy's worked with every coach in the industry, and somehow he thinks he knows everything or whatever. And I've even told him, like, dude, you're out of shape, and he gets like all butthurt. I think Bleu told him he's out of shape too, and he got pissed at you too, right?
Yeah. And I was, I was saying it in a constructive way. I was saying, bro, which I told him years ago when I worked with him, you could be Dennis Wolf. but the problem is, you know, the machine up here, if that's not working, the rest of the machine isn't going to do what it needs to do. So it's kind of sad. It's such a waste of potential, but you know.
So he was bragging, Leo, that he was 30 pounds heavier in 1 year or 2 years since the last time he competed. Like, and literally he had, I started laughing when you sent me that text. You're like, yeah, 30 pounds of fat. He literally, Leo, he had like 30 pounds of added fat and water on his physique. He won't post any back shots. And every show he thinks he gets robbed. Like he thinks he gets robbed at every show, but he's literally off season on stage. It's pathetic, man. And like he has a like decent social media following. It's like, it's really pathetic. He needs to like pull his head out of his ass and start really like digging down. Like Dominic Cardone was helping him. He wanted him to do all the, you know, and he stopped listening to him too. And, you know, Dominic he actually reached out to me and he said that Seth and him are no longer working together because he won't listen to anyone, man. But the guy's out of shape. It's really sad. But he has potential to be great. He has potential to be really good.
In terms of muscle or shape or
shape, he's my height. He's 6'2", like really good shape, like a tiny waist, really good muscle bellies. Like he could like Bleu said, man, if he put on muscle in the right areas and he came in shredded, he could be the next Dennis Wolf. But the guy's so lazy. He's lazy, right?
He just I think that there's some. I mean, I'm trying to say it in a nice way. I just think that, you know, mentally, you know, I think that's definitely his kind of roadblock with this. You know, I see a lot of guys like that. You know, if you know, if he was straight there, I mean, his potential is limitless. But yeah, you know, it's.
But I wanted to bring him up before we got off that topic because it's like a huge waste of potential. And like people hit me up all the time, like, what is this guy's issue? Like, I don't understand.
Well, hopefully he gets motivated by this. Let's take some questions.
He's not. If he watches this, he won't be motivated. Okay. He will be going crazy, punching me and Bostin on the screen.
Well, anyway, I thought
because Leo, he thinks he looks good. Like he'll be like, they're fucking lying and shit. Yeah.
Okay, now I have to see this guy afterwards. It's gonna be Anyway, I thought we'd take some questions. So our first call in. So for those that don't know, today is Bleu. Whenever we have Bleu on, we have this interesting. I don't know what we should call it, the good and bad coach list. We get calls in, and we have some calls organized today. But the first call is a bit delayed, so I thought we'd do some questions first. We have some good questions this week. The first one though is not a question. I got to defend myself. Somebody made a post that I want to respond to. So he wrote it as a question. He said, F-Bad said, Leo, you claim your IG is about health and longevity. No, I don't claim anything, by the way. It either is or isn't. But not once have you or anyone else, other than Lee Priest, encouraged any of these kids to get a long, solid base, minimum 10 years, before touching PEDs. You have 160-pound adolescent kids taking PEDs in insane amounts when they should be training their asses off and eating insane amounts of food while they can grow like a tree in the first 10 years of training. Food for thought. So I just want to defend myself against this. I guess the reason why is some people are new to the channel. They don't know what my channel is about. First of all, my channel is about subjective well-being, which means happiness, enjoying your life, and about longevity. I don't care about health, actually. I care about living a long time. Okay, those are the two things. And it's by biohacking, which means changing your behavior, your chemicals, your attitude, praying, whatever, to make your life better. That's what my channel's about. Because of my past in sports and using steroids, I sometimes comment, and I'm also interested in biohacking for sports. So sometimes I comment on sports and stuff like that, and we have the bodybuilding segments and so on. In these segments, if this guy doesn't know, I have the first video ever on YouTube about how androgens cause liver cancer. I have the first video ever on YouTube about how androgens damage the brain. I have tons of videos explaining how using steroids is extremely unhealthy, and especially using growth hormone. I talk about this all the time. In fact, to be honest with you, between me and you guys, I think that my channel may have provided the most health advice regarding bodybuilding in the last few years. There's a lot of tips I try to figure out to help myself if I was back in the day still using steroids or whatever. You know what I mean? My whole goal in the channel is, as I learn, communicate what I learned with others, and whatever I've learned, help others behind me to avoid the mistakes I made. So my channel is not about the choices that people make. I'm not here to tell you what choice to make. I can say what I think about something, but I'm not telling people to do anything, especially not to take steroids or use growth hormone or whatever. But if you're an athlete, I try to give some advice on how to maybe limit the damage. More importantly, there are no adolescent kids watching my channel. This channel is on YouTube, restricted to over 18 or over 21. I do not address adolescents. Adolescents do not take drugs. I don't encourage such a thing. And more importantly, let's get down to the matter of business of what he said. He wants people to train 10 years naturally, at least, he said, before they can use steroids because they can grow like a weed. Clearly, this guy didn't train for 10 years naturally and has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Second of all, if you wait, now it's different. If I started lifting weights when I was 12 years old. If you start when you're 12, oh yeah, you could lift what? I started using steroids at 22. I waited 10 years. But if I started training at 18, then I wait 10 years and I'm 28. Dude, I can never be the bodybuilder that I could have been. You can't. If you wait to 30, you'll be like Greg Doucette, small on stage. He never really benefited that much from his PED use. That's the truth. You want to ruin your health or hurt your health, you want to think about it. Should I start using steroids at 35? Hurt my health while I'm, by the way, when you're 35, you're more fragile. Everything you do hurts you more.
All the best bodybuilders usually started pretty young.
You have to, because the body, let me tell you exactly why scientifically. Cells in the body become senescent as you age. The earlier you are, the less senescent cells you have, the more growth hormone can make you grow, the more androgens can make you grow. So if you wait to 30, you limit yourself. And I just tell the truth on this channel. I don't advise adolescents, for God's sake. Anyway, sorry, I just got a little pissed off when I saw this because my whole point is to help people. Not to fucking encourage kids to use drugs and hurt themselves. You know what I mean? Second of all,
drugs are all over the internet, Leo. If they're going to use drugs, it's not because of you.
Well, if they're going to come to my page, they're going to get the most responsible information about it possible. Yeah. I only make videos about health. I don't make videos about how to use steroids or whatever. Anyway, next, Danimal Supreme says, ask Bostin about PJ Braun and his recent mercury poisoning if you get a chance. Have you heard about this?
No, I didn't hear about that.
So I did, actually. I saw YouTube recommended it to me. I watched like the first half of it. PJ had like a very, he said he almost died. Apparently he got mercury poisoning. He's been eating fish for many years. Like, remember that guy, Jason Ha?
Dominic Cardone had mercury poisoning too.
No way. Yeah, that's a serious thing. Just for the guys to know, if you get mercury poisoning acutely, you can die and stuff like that. But if you have just a little bit higher mercury, you're more likely to get a heart attack than somebody else with lower mercury. So that's the danger, really. That's why I don't eat any fish. Zero.
But it isn't. It's not all fish that mercury's in, right?
No, it's higher in certain kinds of fish. Yeah.
Like
and
tuna.
Larger fish that eat other fish, for example. Yeah, exactly like that. Okay, it's Aaron P says, recent scandal with Jay Martinez, Cobra Fitness. Have you guys heard anything about this coach? Apparently tons of females coming out about the stuff he's done.
That's one of the guys that I mentioned last podcast, Leo. That's one of the guys that was involved.
Oh, okay.
He went private and all these, like, that's the guy that said you have to come over to my house and I'll measure your tits and shit.
Okay, because I got a message from some lady about it also, but I didn't know if it was the same thing.
I was pretty shocked. I used to train that guy.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that. You know, he was a middleweight. Always a nice, respectful guy, but you don't know behind the scenes what goes on.
They posted like the DMs that he was like sending to chicks. Man, it was like pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw some stuff. Pretty terrible.
I didn't know it was the same guy. I wouldn't have asked. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Abu Sagr says, Abu Sagr means the father of the falcon in Arabic, by the way. It's a cool name. So he says, general relationship advice. I just want to hear about your experiences with girls and long-term relationships.
That question should go to Matt Jensen.
Oh my God! We can't ask experts. We need like amateur response, not experts. I have one thing. I saw this question before and I was like, I'm the worst person to ask. I grew up without a mother, without sisters. I'd never understood women till I still don't really fully understand women. I made so many mistakes. The one thing I learned though, honestly, it's quite useful. I think that some men, and I was one of them, when they date a woman, for example, say you go to a bar and you want to go pick up a girl. But before you go to pick her up, she comes to you and she's all into you. Hey, how you doing? I really like you. Can you buy me a drink? You get turned off by it, right? Like if she approaches you hard.
Yeah, because you think something's wrong with her.
I know. So, but there's another side of it though. When you try to reach a girl and she's a bit coy with you and like she's into you but not fully, she plays hard to get, you get more interested, right?
Yes.
This, I believe, was one of the biggest things that go wrong. So when you get more interested, I feel the way I describe it is like you attach your ego to that person. You want to succeed by making her like you. Like once you get her, you're like, oh yeah, she likes me, I feel better. This is the biggest. I feel like if you don't attach your ego to a girl and instead think of her as her and not let it be like a thing, like you're accomplishing something by getting to know her, it saves a lot of things. Like a lot of those toxic relationships, they think they own each other. They try to fight over each other. They're attached with their egos. What do you guys think?
I know I've always been a long-term relationship guy, and Blue's been married for forever. So I don't know. Like
much advice, huh?
I've been married for a long time. I'm huge on loyalty.
What's the question? What's the question though?
He's asking for any advice on relationships generally. Some of our listeners are like in their early 20s.
Yeah, just my best advice is don't get yourself in bad situations. Like we're all males. Like we all have like temptations. Like anyone who's going to say you don't have temptations in a relationship is lying to you. If you put yourself in the wrong situation, you can get yourself in trouble. So you could be smart about it and don't put yourself in bad situations. And that's the best thing you could do. Like for instance, I don't market to females and bikini chicks and all that shit. Cause why? First of all, it's not my forte. And second of all, I'm putting myself in a bad situation. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's just not worth it.
True. Yeah. And then when they send you nude pics, you got to tell your wife.
Yeah. And then they're going to tell you like, hey, you can't work with them anymore.
Well, it just causes drama. That's all it does is cause drama. So, I mean,
yeah, thankfully,
you're the same as me though. Like I would never join bikini. Like
it's just, yeah. Or yeah. I mean, for instance, I'll train a chick if her husband is like, hey, like if I'm working with the husband and I do like a couples program and they check in together, I'll do that and it's fine. And Ariella knows all about, but like for me to take on a chick that's like, I don't know, that's attractive and, getting ready for shows. First of all, like, why would she even be contacting me for coaching? Is I don't promote that. You know what I mean? So she could go hire Tyler Woosley or someone like Andrew Barry or something. I don't know.
I do like Tyler though. He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's like we go back a while. He's good.
He's a good dude.
So I think just I didn't explain it well, but what I meant to say is this: if I was dating again and trying to find a partner, because I don't really have relationship advice, because I don't really, with Lucy, I've been with her for years. We don't work on anything. We just fit perfectly together, just naturally. So I don't really know much advice that way. But the advice that I have is in terms of finding the person that works with you. If somebody really affects your ego, like if you get worried that she's cheating on you, or if you get worried that she doesn't like you, something like that, that is not a good relationship.
Oh, you got to get out of that.
You have to find somebody that you're comfortable with, that you could be a best friend. Because at the end of the day, you date someone for 2 years, all that like infatuation goes away. They become your best friend. At the end of the day, 2 or 3 years, they become your best friend. So if you can't be friends with somebody and you don't love being around them and talking to them, that's not the person. You know what I mean? Like some guys, like rich guys, they'll date a girl that's almost like a puppet, like what do they call it? A trophy wife.
Mm-hmm.
That thing doesn't work unless that's a control situation. You have to find somebody that you really get along with, I feel like, and the best way to do that is to be honest also throughout the relationship about yourself from the beginning. And I think in terms of the cheating thing also, or the temptations, as long as you're honest with someone from the beginning about what you think about life, and you're always honest, you'll never hurt them. Yeah, the pain comes from the betrayal, the hidden, those things.
That's the thing, man. I tell Ariel everything. Like if she asks me a question, I'm honest with her about it. It's just like there's no point.
I've never lied to Lucy in my life.
Because if you start to get sneaky about shit, then you're gonna get yourself in trouble. Like I don't know.
If you will cheat on your wife, if you'll cheat on literally the love of your life, your soulmate, if you'll cheat on her, you will fuck over anybody. Anybody. The closest person in your life, literally, the person that would take a bullet for you, if you would cheat on them, I mean, you would backstab anybody.
And that's why that guy you mentioned earlier is an interesting relationship advice character. When I heard that, I was like, God damn, like you can't trust somebody that does that. Like
me and Bleu knew that he was a piece of shit for years. I mean, we get emails all the time about what he does to his normal clients, and we know that he's a shitty person. So
yeah, but that's like humiliating your wife. The humiliation is another thing too, by the way. If you cheat in secret, that's one level. But you cheat with somebody she knows, man, or she's mad.
He cheated on because his
not him, but I'm talking generally, you know.
But no, it was a client, and dude, he was what's it called? Her fiance was employing the fiance.
Fucking unbelievable! I know it's crazy. We'll move on for this one. Okay, so AD Physique says thoughts on using Aldactone during peak week for its potassium sparing and loading effects, then using Lasix at the night before the show.
I hate Aldactone. Fuck that. I don't think Bleu's a big Aldactone guy either.
The most ever, a quarter of a diazide, every great while. I don't, no Aldactone, no Lasix, none of that crap.
Yeah, all I use is diazide.
You too, Bleu? What's your favorite one? Is it diazide?
Yeah. Just a little bit of that just to kind of trim the edges is usually enough. I mean, if the guy's filled, you don't have to do much, Are
there people that go to competitions without diuretics?
What's that?
Are there guys who compete without diuretics?
Yeah, plenty of them.
99% of my guys compete without diuretics.
Wow.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I barely any of my guys ever touch them. If you get pilled and like me and Bostin were talking the other day, you get pilled, ahead of schedule to where you can back off a little bit at the end, let your, central nervous system kind of get a break, anti-estrogens and stuff like that. There's not much you have to do. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, one of my guys who he won the middleweights at the Masters this weekend, we did absolutely nothing. All I had him do is a scoop of Carbolin to pump up.
Wow.
You didn't even reduce it. You didn't reduce his water?
We reduced the water. Let me see.
Wait, Bleu, your audio there is playing back and we can hear it.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now? Oh,
no,
okay.
We can hear us on your audio. Your speaker's too loud.
Okay.
No, I just don't want to tell you ahead of time in case because people go.
You're better at this than I am. What do I do to adjust it?
I have actually no idea.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
No.
Oh, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, all I did is control his water the day of. That's it. I think I had him do 4 to 5 ounces in between the meals. That was it.
Yeah, so you reduce the water a little bit. That makes sense.
But it was everything was normal the day before.
So when would you use a diuretic on somebody?
I'll use one like if it's just one of those things like, based on the entire prep, he's just one of those guys that just doesn't get crazy pilled. Or if he's one of those guys that during prep say he couldn't get all of the Proviron, you know what I'm saying? The anastrozole, certain things like that. Or say something stress related at the end where, he just accumulates water and we're like, okay, shit, we have no choice, take a quarter, at 8 o'clock and cut off your water, that type of a deal the day before. But like, it's usually just those circumstances. I mean, I had 11 people at the Masters. Almost everybody won their class, and my guy won the both of the pro master classes. Out of all of those people, only 2 people took a quarter of a diazide.
Yeah.
Do you find that African Americans more require diuretics on average?
I can't say. I mean,
well, I would say this. I would say that they're less vulnerable of going flat.
Oh, okay, but
that is true. That is true. Yeah, if they do take it, they're not going to get flat.
Yeah.
Lucky. That's fantastic. Okay, so Bostin, your buddy Nicholas DiPietro says, do you think it's necessary or helpful to take T4 while using HGH? If so, why and what dose? At what dose?
In my opinion, it really depends on the blood work. If somebody's TSH starts to creep up on the high GH dose, yes, I would recommend anywhere from 50 to 100 mc to T4. I would say when I have my clients get blood work every 6 months, if they're running any more than like 6, I use a GH, like 6 to 8 I use. Usually their TSH does creep up a little bit, so I'll use a little bit of it for sure.
Interesting. What about you, Bleu? Do you think that it's necessary to supplement thyroid medication when people are taking GH?
At higher doses, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, T4, just a little bit of T4. If you're, using GH for a long time, especially higher dosages, yeah.
So I made a video actually on this week. It's an academic review of the exact whatever is known exactly about how GH treatment affects thyroid function. It does seem to change the ratio of T4 and T3 in all the studies actually. So there's definitely something going on there. By the way, I want the audience to know, because people were complaining that Bleu was using his phone last time. Bleu is organizing the calls for us, so he has to keep checking his phone, just for people to know. Okay, so a couple more questions.
What happened? People didn't like me using my phone?
People were saying, yeah, they thought you're like chatting on your phone. I was explaining to them that you're organizing the calls for us.
Well, sometimes I am. I'm dealing with 28 countries and hundreds and hundreds.
Oh, you are? Okay, I didn't know you were.
I don't have a choice. I'm still using my phone. I'm guilty.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that. That's
no, it's just little texts here and there, but I mean, I'm definitely completely here 100%.
Yeah. So, IKC says, could low dose 100 milligrams or less daily of DNP be used for a longer duration as a substitute for Clen during contest prep entirely, or is this compound just not suitable, only suitable for short durations and higher doses?
I know some guys that use the DNP at a low dose for a long period of time. It's hard to say, man. Like, obviously the whole goal of using is not to use DNP, but I like to use it for a lot of my clients because it makes things a lot easier. And I do run it at a low dose for like 21 days in the very beginning. And the cool thing about using DNP is you don't have to overdo the stimulants. So that's the whole point of me doing. I don't have to have my clients taking 100 mcgs of Clen. In my opinion, DNP is a lot safer than taking a fuckload of Clen.
I think so too. Low dose DNP is safer.
Low dose DNP, in my opinion, is way safer than hot. There's these guys that are doing 75 to 100 mcgs of T3 with their clients with like 100 mcgs of Clen. I'd way rather use a low dose DNP. You know what I mean?
I think you're absolutely right, by the way, Bostin.
Yeah.
Clen is really dangerous at high doses. That's how people get arrhythmias.
I think Clen is the most dangerous.
So we've got someone joined us. Bleu, why don't you direct us?
Hello? Yeah. I don't know these people, so I'm just.
Oh, you don't know them either?
Well, some of these guys I don't know, so I just set up phone calls, but I always do like a review call just to make sure everything's legitimate.
So just for the audience to know, I didn't know who the coaches were about today until like 5 minutes before the call. So this is totally unplanned. We're excited to speak to you. Tell us your story.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great to be on the show. I love you guys. I watch you almost every time you drop a podcast, so great to definitely be here. But I hired a coach named Alex Kikel. I know Bostin's definitely a friend of Alex Kikel's, but I hired him in the past, and he kind of like wooed me over with his sort of obscure language that he uses. And I'm not sure, anyone who kind of follows him on Instagram or knows of any of his content. He likes to use very obscure language, large vocabulary, kind of misleading sort of with his what I would call like fake intelligence, honestly, just by using large words. And to me, that sounded great. I love science. I love what you teach, Leo. And so that kind of grasped me into like, man, this guy knows his shit. Like he definitely knows what he's going to be doing with me. And I had some bad experiences in the past with coaches and their prescriptions of PEDs and such. So I was like, I'm going for it. Fast forward like 2 weeks, I worked with the guy for a peak. I actually did my own prep. And then I had him peak me for the first, the last 2 weeks of the competition prep. And, he was kind of like, had me on this really weird diet where it was only like vegetables and EAAs, and it was very weird. And then the last day he had me take a diuretic, and I came on stage, probably the worst I've ever looked in my life, just super flat. And I was kind of upset about it, so I texted him about it, and he got very upset with me, and I was like, that was weird. So I just didn't talk to him for a while. Fast forward another month later, and I hired him as sort of like an off-season coach, and we were working together for probably about 9 months. And right off the bat, there was kind of some interesting things to me. He sent me a very, very long program, very extensive with a bunch of kind of information. I mean, it was like down to like the amount of sunlight you need a day to the amount of like meditation practices you need a day. And I was like, man, I've never seen anything like this. This is very odd.
I do that. I sent 25 pages with meditation practices in them. I didn't know somebody else was doing it. I do the exact same thing. By the way, I have to interrupt you. Do I use language the same way as he does? Am I the same kind of thing?
No, you're not. No, Leo, you're not.
Okay.
No, Leo, you educate, like you actually educate and you actually teach like the language you're using. You elucidate it and you make it make sense for just the layman's. But he uses vocabulary that's so exclusive to literature that no one is going to understand it. And I think he does that on purpose to kind of facilitate this facade that he holds when he's making these videos. Yeah. But when I say like meditation and things, he's talking about, like 10-minute meditational practices. And one thing I approached him with is immediately my blood pressure was high. He put me on over a gram of gear and combined with Tressolone, Primo, and testosterone, 6 IUs of GH and 20 IUs of insulin. So, and keep in mind, the highest cycle I've ever done before working with him was only 400 milligrams. And that was 200 milligrams of testosterone and the rest of MPP. So like working with him, I was like, holy shit, this is a bunch of gear, just thrown off the bat. So my blood pressure like skyrocketed. He had me eating over 1,025 grams of carbs a day. My blood glucose was skyrocketed. Everything was kind of like going sideways on me. And I was like, okay, this is definitely something weird. And so I was like, hey man, like I'm getting concerned about my blood pressure. You say this meditation should be able to fix my blood pressure through encouraging parasympathetic states. And that does not work. Right. And I asked about the ancillaries that you've brought up and educated many people on. And, this is where I learned, as soon as you question him or any of his practices, he immediately spazzes out and attacks you. And so he made this very large video about me asking, about using ancillaries in my program to control my blood pressure, and saying that you don't need that if you're doing the proper meditations and you're putting yourself into a parasympathetic state. You'll be fine and everything should take care of itself. Well, that's just not fucking true, especially when you're on over a gram of gear. And it's funny because he always talks about how he's in a parasympathetic state himself. And he's always in a relaxed and happy mood, but then he's like on his stories and talking to other people. He freaks out on.
Let's interrupt. Let's just interrupt to educate the audience. Whether you're in a sympathetic or parasympathetic state, androgens directly cause sodium retention, and so does the growth hormone. I made a video. Did I make a video on that? Yeah, I made a video on this extracellular water. You saw the difference in the extracellular water, right? So you're loading your body with sodium and water. It doesn't matter how fucking calm you are. You're still carrying so much more mass, and this the blood vessels haven't adapted, right?
Yep, exactly.
That's weird though that Alex even brought that up, because me and Alex have had conversations about blood pressure medication like lisinopril and ramipril. So that's weird that he wouldn't even be cool or even with that. That's kind of bizarre.
Well, the other thing too was, so I get blood work usually every 2 to 3 months. I get it very often, and I track everything. I graph it, so I could see my cholesterol, my HDL, my HDL going down, obviously my LDL going up quite rapidly. So I asked about using other ancillaries like Venamine, and his solution to that was just adding, and I shit you not, like with me eating over 6,000 calories a day, adding in an hour of HIIT cardio, like high intensity cardio, a day, 6 days a week. Wait,
let's offer another caveat. So cardio can only lower your triglycerides. It cannot affect your LDL or HDL whatsoever. And triglycerides obviously are the fat in your bloodstream.
Yeah, go ahead. And so that was the solution to that. And obviously, like at that point, it was kind of like the breaking point for me. I kind of just like looked at everything he had me doing for 9 months. He never changed a single one of my workouts. They all stayed the same. He never changed my diet besides adding more food and more food. Never wanted me to have a cheat meal, like made that very clear that I wasn't able to have cheat meals, but my carbs, I have a very high metabolism, so I understand why my carbs are that high. But when I was like presenting issues of like my fasted blood glucose on average was above 110, 108 every other day, even after like rest days.
That happens.
And that was only on 4 to 6 IUs of growth. So, and that does happen, but for me, that's never happened. So,
have you taken 4 to 6 IUs of growth before?
I've taken up to 4 before that. But I've never eaten that many carbs, and I've never eaten them consistently at that high for that long. And so like my progress in the gym just started slowing. I started getting fatter than bigger, really. And it just seemed to kind of all be falling apart with and you can't text the dude, right? Like he only takes emails, and you can only email him once a week. If you want to communicate with him more often, you actually have to like pay for the package to talk to him more often.
But how much is the package to talk to him more often?
I don't even know. I couldn't afford it. The package just to email him once a week or once weekly check-in is $350 a month.
Oh, wow. He told me he only charges $200 a month. That's crazy.
But that's not very high. Come on. I mean,
no, that is pretty high if you're only allowed one email a week. Dude, I charge $500 for 3 months if they could pay with Venmo.
Oh, they email you every day, right? It's not once a week.
Dude, they can email me whenever they want.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah, once a week.
And if they could pay with Cash App, Venmo, or Zelle, I take $500 for every 3 months. That's crazy.
Oh,
yeah, so it's just insane, man. And like it was just like I felt like I was kind of being ignored, and every time I brought up like a health issue or just a question in general, man, it was like he didn't even like address it or really care about it instead of just getting angry. But the other thing was too, like I started noticing that he would respond to my emails in an odd way, as if he like kind of vaguely remembered who I was. So it was like he talks about in a story that he has like over 150 plus clients, and sometimes he has over 200, and it fluctuates, and that's all he does is work with clients. So I respect, and I think it's possible at a very, very high echelon. But what I did one time is just to see, I sent him 3 check-ins that were exactly identical, same responses, same pictures and everything. And every check-in, he responded the exact same way for 3 weeks in a row. Still making changes with the same pictures, the same weight, everything on the plan was exactly the same. So that like led me to obviously believe the dude wasn't even like really looking into the check-ins or even considering them. So
interesting. That was pretty pretty damning, that last part.
So yeah, he mentioned in the beginning of this that Alex is a friend of mine, which me and Alex, we talk through WhatsApp and stuff like that.
Wait, should we let him go and we continue talking about ourselves, or keep him on?
Yeah, we can keep him on. I'm just going to say that, Alex has always been nice to me. I actually do think he's a good person deep down inside. Now, I have worked with a couple of his clients that have dropped him, and I've taken over, and they've sent me his protocols and his programs. I completely disagree with everything he does, and I'm sure he disagrees with everything that I do. And I will tell you now that it's just
Bostin, not to interrupt though, you got to admit this though. He may disagree with things that you do, but he is actually a fake coach with no resume. He is the exact type of people that I talk about, that talk and talk and talk, but when it comes to actually showing proof of what they know, anybody can regurgitate information. I tell people all the time, you can study music, that's great, but do you know how to play it? And he's that exact type of person, and that's why I like these callers to call in and share this, because there are so many fake coaches out there like that, and I'm sure there's things.
So Bleu, you're saying it's sort of like if I went and coached a bodybuilder. Like I don't know how to bodybuild, but I know some things about science. So is that what he's doing? Sort of? He's not a bodybuilder? Or
no. It's just there's certain people out there. Just like he's saying, by the way he talks, if you're going to sell somebody shit, you don't just hand them a handful of manure. You can, you sugarcoat it, you put some gold on it. And that happens a lot, with, certain people that talk a certain way to sell a product they have that's shit. And that happens all the time, of this, acting like, they're a human book and this and that and explaining. They can dissect and tell you, the molecular structure of celery and every little thing. But you know what? When it comes to real life and them actually orchestrating it with a human, with bodybuilding, the guy could sit and talk forever and regurgitate everything from his favorite books. But then when you go to his resume, there's nothing there.
I do notice that I rarely ever see his guys fully ever in shape.
Right.
And he's never been in shape himself either. But like I said, like I don't dock him as a person. I would never recommend him as a coach because I think he just overcomplicates everything. You know what I mean? I just work with Nick DiPietro. Used to work with him, and that's the guy that I just trained who won the overall at the PCA Pro Classic. And I don't know. I just disagree with it. It's just, you know, that's the same guy, Bleu, that he took estrogen in prep. He took estrogen and
Holy.
That's the same guy. I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
It's because these guys create things. They try to reinvent the will.
Exactly.
Because they don't even truly understand the will. That's the whole thing.
And you know who his coach is? Broderick Chavez.
Oh my God! Whoa, the conversation's over. You didn't tell me that in the beginning. Holy shit! No, that guy. No, Broderick Chavez is somebody who does not really know what he's talking about. Who makes up? He uses technical jargon to intimidate you, to do a call to authority. I'm smart. Listen to me, and then he says bullshit. That is just. It doesn't even make sense. If you actually read papers like I do, I spend 6 hours every day reading academic papers. Broderick looks like a fucking charlatan. I cannot stand that guy. If anyone listens,
and they're like best friends.
Derek, unfortunately,
that's exactly right.
It's a horrible guy.
That's exactly right. And like Bleu is so on with that. You can look at Bleu's body work or Bostin's body of work, and their people come in on every time. There's very rarely a moment in where someone comes off. But you look at Alex's body of work, and there's really no one who comes in shape or comes without water under their skin. And yet he once again just brags about having this knowledge about how the renal system works and how you can cause diuresis.
He sounds like Chavez.
He doesn't know how to apply it. He doesn't know how to apply it.
That's the thing.
Like,
He doesn't know how to.
Bleu and Bostin might not be able to explain the pharmacokinetics behind things, the dynamics, but they get their shit right. And
neither can Chad Nichols, and he delivers.
Exactly.
That's what
they don't have the knowledge, but they have the experience and practical application. And that's just so much of what these coaches lack is just the sheer practical application. That's a huge part of their knowledge base.
You know, to be honest with you, caller, I don't know your name, but one of the reasons I do a lot of like stuff about the brain stuff is because like I had so many personal issues, depression, anxiety in my life. I would go to psychiatrists. Psychiatrists know everything about the drug. They read a little bit of the literature, but they've never been depressed. They've never been anxious. They've never actually taken the drug. They've never tried it. They don't know how it feels. They don't know. So like I've been through all those things. And so that's how I try to coach. My clients are all coached like mental stuff. I don't do, I have some athletes, but in arm wrestling. But that's what I guess but he's a bodybuilder. You say he competes also, Alex?
Yeah, he looks really bad, man. He's never been even close to in shape. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking him as a person because he's been very, very nice to me, and I've heard nothing but good things about him as a person. But just his bodybuilding is, and before me and Alex were even on talking terms. The reason how we became on talking terms is because I bashed him as a coach, and he reached out to me via email, and that's how we started talking.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a nice person. There's tons of nice people. I just think of him as, a mechanic that memorized every book that just cannot work on your car.
I will tell you, though, I'm very surprised that he got angry with you. I never, ever thought that he would ever get angry at a client. He seems like a very calm person. So he actually got angry with you?
Yeah, I mean, even the first email, when I received the program, I had a plethora of questions because it's like 26 pages long of just kind of jargon. And so I had a bunch of questions, and he literally was like, I don't know if I can work with you if you ask questions like this. And they're not weird questions. I've worked with guys. I understand how this works. There weren't weird questions that were pestering or dumb. Like, they were reasonable questions. And that was his first response. Like, I don't know if I can work with you if you ask these questions. That's
crazy to me, man. And he told me he charges $200 a month. Nobody should be charging that much for one email a week. That's really disheartening.
Yeah, if you go on his website, he has the packages that he sells on there. And I think he must have recently updated his prices, but yeah.
Man, when I hear what these people charge, I'm just like, wow.
It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. These dudes are so fake. I'm going to preach it to the day I die. Look up these dudes' resumes. Really look them up. See what they're producing. It all their bullshit ends immediately. So many of them. Some of the biggest names. Palumbo, one of the fakest coaches there is. It's all so fake. It's so fake.
Palumbo's also a horrible human being, so it's a little bit more intense.
He's a horrible human being, which I've said for years. Yeah.
All right, brother, we'll let you be. Thank you for calling in. We're going to get another call soon.
Absolutely. Keep up with the good work, Mio. I really appreciate the podcast. I thank you guys for having me on.
You're very kind, brother. Thank you for listening. All right. Okay, that was pretty interesting. So does Alex compete?
Yeah, he will. Okay, so he did the Arnold Classic a few years ago, and he got dead last. He looked terrible. I mean, terrible. And he was trying to redeem himself this year or last year, and he was hospitalized 2 weeks before the show, and he wasn't. He got rushed to the emergency room. He had to get his gallbladder removed, so he wasn't able to compete.
By the way, one way to protect your gallbladder, TUDCA. Huge. TUDCA and TUDCA. Really protective for gallbladder.
I mean, like I said, Alex he's always been nice, but I've seen his protocols and what he does, and it's the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I mean, he has people run DECA into shows. I mean, low testosterone, high DECA into shows.
That's that fucking Broderick. Sorry, I'm swearing.
Well, that's the same. That's his good friend. That's his good friend and coach. Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. But by the way, did you know that when people get bariatric surgery to cut their stomachs, they often get gallbladder disease and have to remove their gallbladder during that time frame? Prophylactic use before they do the surgery of using UDCA or TUDCA will prevent that from happening. It's a very useful drug. By the way, I don't know, Bleu, did you ever use UDCA? Or did you, Bostin?
It's funny you say that, man. I have a bottle from RUI Research. You remember RUI?
Yeah, I know that.
I was like, what the fuck is this? It says UDCA. It's not TUDCA, but it's UDCA. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
UDCA is the real one. UDCA is what the government gives to cirrhotic patients with cirrhosis of the liver. It's
so does it do the same mechanism, right?
Same mechanism, but slightly different. I like to combine them, actually. I have UDCA. Anabolic Pharmacist has it. Hey, welcome to the show, caller.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
And welcome, Jackson. Great to see you. Hey, sorry. Go ahead. Caller?
Yeah. So
welcome to the show.
I wanted to come on and go ahead.
I was just welcoming you to the show. Sorry, it's a bit of a lag.
Oh, thank you.
Who are you calling in about?
So I wanted to call in and kind of talk about one of the coaches I've worked with in the past. I've been into bodybuilding here for probably 5 years or so. And you know, that's everything with the diet, the drugs, the competing. Worked with a few coaches, but one in particular stands out. So I just kind of wanted to come on and share my experiences. I know you guys have been doing calling out coaches, and I definitely support that. So I just thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining us. Who's the coach? What happened?
So the coach is Dave Palumbo. And I did. Yeah. So, I call him the snake because he also has snakes. But anyway, that's he is a personality of literally a snake. Like yeah.
You know, when you're walking around, you don't see the snake and it just bites your ankle. You're like, why did you bite me, dude? I didn't do anything to you. That's Dave Palumbo. Yep, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned that because even my email correspondences between him and myself, you know, throughout our time working together, it felt like that too. I mean, anyway, I can go more into detail certainly, but to give you a little bit of history, I worked with him for 2 off seasons, and then I also hired him for 2 preps. So once I stuck with him, I stuck with him for like a good amount of time. So I had a full experience. The first thing I noticed is, especially since I did 2 actual off seasons with him, is that his general protocol for like drug cycle was exactly the same as we had done prior. So, you know, taking into account that typically I don't do well with orals. I have a lot of issues with digestion and things like that. And he just didn't seem to care. He was like, no, this is what you need to use. And kind of just treating me as if I don't really know my stuff, even though I did. Some of the stuff I honestly didn't even follow because I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. Like he's not
listening to me personally, and I felt like he's not really customizing anything for me. I can also say, like, to give you an example, like I started, now a little bit of background of me, I'm about 5'5". When I started working with him, I was 175. In my first off season, my weight went up to 210. So I gained a good amount, maybe 35, 40 pounds. But I can definitely guarantee that probably 75% of that was just fat and water. He had me running insulin every day for probably 3 months. So it wasn't like on some lagging body part days or something like that. I was definitely insulin resistant after some point. And that was apparent just because I was becoming a whale. On top of that, I started having a lot of digestive issues, and his whole thing was, take fiber lies. Like that's gonna push everything through. Once doesn't work, take it twice a day.
Take the more expensive version of Metamucil. Take the more expensive. Don't go to your CVS and get Metamucil, which is third-party reviewed. Get this more expensive version of the same product that's not reviewed.
I have all my clients use sugar-free Metamucil. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd be like, call in because, my wife will hook you up too because you're my client, so you'll save a bit of money. I'm like, okay. So, and that seemed to be his kind of like go-to, which was just pushing people towards his products. So at that point, I kind of just knew like he's a scam and trying to just sell me things and not really listen to the problems that I'm having. And instead, I literally was at a point where I had to force feed everything at some point. And he'd be like, no, well, you can't miss meals at all. Like, if you miss a meal, like, you should be really disappointed. Like, he would almost make me feel down and disappointed in myself. And that was a terrible experience because he set me up to feel that way for a long time. And it took me a long time just to kind of switch that mindset and, understand, hey, there are people out there who will actually listen to me, and listen to my actual needs. So that was experience there. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that he is super, super cookie cutter. I mean, I've worked with other coaches as well in the past, and I mean, I can tell you he literally designs the same protocol for every single person. That's what it feels like to me. A couple of my friends were working with him as well, and we kind of shared our plans here and there, and it was like near identical. I mean,
you're 100% right, man. It's all cookie cutter. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that to me was just crazy. I listened in on your other podcast when I think another caller had said that he had been eating burgers or burger and fry or whatever, like very often, even on prep. I can't remember exactly, but I had a very similar experience with him in that regard.
Wait a minute. It's good you said that. Wait, let me interrupt. It's good you said that because on the last one, people started commenting and saying, we know the Dave Palumbo caller is lying because Dave would never put somebody on burgers in prep or whatever. He
does it to everyone.
I know.
He does that's his thing. Like, go to McDonald's, like, what is it? A quarter pounder.
The double quarter pounder with fries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his thing. So, and anytime, and now coming into prep, it was like, I wasn't losing weight. Well, okay, add 5 minutes, bump up 5 minutes cardio. Take 75 micrograms of T3. All right, let's move your Clen up to 100 micrograms. Like, it was just, he would sometimes literally just respond with just that. He would not ask me for anything else. He'd look at my pics and just be like, that's what you got to do. No comment, not asking me for feedback or anything like that. Overall, I think I was very naive at the time in terms of like, he went to med school. He knows his stuff, and maybe that's what I should be listening to.
Wait, let's caveat that. He went to one of the worst medical schools in New York City, and he never graduated. It's a very bad medical school, just for your information. You could check it out online. Just to let you know. Anyway.
I'm glad you said that, Leo.
No, it's a shit
I
school.
tell people that all the time.
And he didn't graduate. He failed out or whatever happened to him. Anyway, and he had much longer to go. You do the residency. There's a lot of things. You have to take an examination. And he was in a bad school. Anyway, sorry, there's Cornell there. There's a few good schools. There's Albert Einstein. There's a few. He didn't go to any of those. He went to the shit one, New York Medical College. I don't know what it is. Anyway, sorry, continue, please.
Yeah. No, you're good. I mean, that makes sense now. I mean, now that I look back on it. And so, for me, it was like, back then it was like, I've got to work with someone who's really educated. And of course he sounded great on paper and, he has this whole RX thing and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, this guy is the deal. Apparently he has now get this, he has a course you can take. It's like, the course is called Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru. And you can actually pay him like $700-800 and spend a whole Saturday with him, like next to his house. He has like his RX studio, so it's right there next to his snake pits. And essentially he just verbatim goes through like a booklet and will apparently teach you everything that you need to know to become a successful coach. And it's all cookie cutter. Everything is laid out in there. Like, I mean, I've seen the book myself. And it's like, cycles and diets and how to design them. And nowhere does it say like, well, what about genetics? What about, everybody's different and people have health issues. What about those kinds of things? No, let's just follow this book and I'm going to create Mr. Olympia,
So it's funny you say that. So we're a guy like you probably had to raise the Clen, raise the T3, up the cardio, up, drop the carbs, all cookie cutter, right? So my experience with Dave was when he prepped me for the show, my diet didn't change once because my body responds very well to food. And I literally, Leo, the first program he sent me for 12 full weeks didn't change once. Not the drugs, not the diet, not the cardio. Everything was just sent to me. No changes. But the messed up thing is somebody who doesn't respond as well as me, he's going to have them do 100 to 150 thyroid, 200 Clen. It's just crazy, man. It's craziness.
Wow, that's.
Oh yeah, it was, and not to mention too, my blood work was utter shit after most of those, cycles. And I mean, prep, I can understand. There's a lot of other androgens and stuff at play, and especially with aromatase inhibitors, I get that. But even off season, I mean, with the amount of like high fats that he was feeding me, I mean, his solution was always, in between meals, have a quarter cup or a third cup of cashews in between every meal. And here I am, going to take a shit every 2 hours. Like, bro, this is not the way to go,
Why cashews? Those are one of the least nutritious nuts. I'm just curious.
He likes so much fat. I remember my diet had about 300 grams of fat in it.
Oh.
What was your resting heart rate when you were taking 100 T3 and Clen? Do you know?
So, I mean, I honestly, back then, no, I didn't like actually keep track. In general, my heart rate, like throughout my whole life has been really low. Like my resting heart rate in the morning, even now I'm about, 180, 185 pounds, relatively lean. And my resting heart rate's like probably 46, 47, something like that.
People's resting heart rates don't just depend on the athleticism of their hearts, but also your autonomic nervous system. So maybe you're somebody with a slow nervous system. But I was just curious because that's the recipe for an arrhythmia, which Palumbo has actually, interestingly. But
yeah, so interestingly enough, I can tell you now that you mentioned that, I did experience some of that. Like, and it's funny because I didn't think much of it. Like, occasionally you feel like, okay, maybe this is just normal, but I would experience like my heart skipping beats.
Yeah, palpitation. Yeah, that's before you have to live with those palpitations for a long time and ignore them, by the way. Usually.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, to the caller, I experienced the same thing as you. I first started watching Palumbo in 2008 on YouTube, a really long time ago. I didn't know anything. I didn't know much about bodybuilding at the time. I was just a forum guy. I thought this guy knew everything. I was like, the fats and all. I followed everything. Then like 4 years later or so, or maybe five years later, I realized he didn't know that much, but I thought he was just a nice guy. So I kept supporting him. When I came on YouTube, I was like making videos about how good he is, nice guy. And meanwhile, I thought he doesn't know much about what he's doing, but I thought he's a nice guy. Then anyway. So how did you guys, are you guys friends? Did he treat you well?
Well, not so much. I mean, honestly, after the second prep, I essentially I kind of broke it off with him. I didn't tell him I'm not going to hire him again, but he never reached out to me again after that. So that was the end of that. And it was weird because I thought we had a good, relationship at least. I mean, besides the horrible coaching and the protocols and stuff, I thought we were good, like on good terms, but he didn't even really care to reach out or anything. So I was like, all right, I'm just another number for him pretty much.
Hey, Bostin, how many clients do you think he has?
Oh, he has to have a lot. Well, he's not going to have near as many after these air out, but I think Dave has so many clients, Leo. I really do, with that RX channel. I don't think he has as many now as he did like 2 years ago or a year ago, but he has to be. Yeah. I mean, he has to be an insane amount of clients.
Does he talk to you guys only on email?
Yeah, email only.
And he responds though quickly, right?
He does, but they're very short responses. Ask him, were your responses very short?
Yeah, real short. The other, I mean, I was actually texting him as well, so I did get to do that, and he was pretty quick on that, I will say. But yeah, really short responses, no real explanation for anything. I remember one of my preps too, like towards the end, I think I was like 2 weeks out, and I was nowhere near where I should have been. I probably could have dropped, 10 pounds, right? I mean, I look like I was probably like 8 weeks out. So I'm like, Dave, my glutes are not coming in. Like, this is not a good thing. So, and he didn't respond to me for like 3 days. And that was really bizarre too. And he didn't provide an explanation like, hey, I'm sorry, something came up, or, family emergency or something like that. And so I took it upon myself, because I'm freaking out here. Like, let me change my diet 2 weeks out and see if I can, at least progress a little bit. And he comes back at me. He's like, you did the wrong thing. You dieted like you have an eating disorder. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're the one who disappeared on me. You're my coach. I'm relying on you like 2 weeks out. So that was that last prep. And then after that, I was just like, screw this. I'm done with him.
Yeah, I guess in prep he might give his number out, but just for his normal guys, I don't think he gives his number out.
Well, what is this Mcdonald's? Can you explain this, Bostin or Bleu?
He has some special. He says that there's some special sodium and special. He spilled me really bad in 2015. I did my whole prep. I got super lean. I was in really good shape in 2015, and he loaded me on Chinese food and double quarter pounders for us from Tuesday up until Saturday. And I looked like fucking shit, dude. I was so spilled. It was such a bad showing for me. But he thinks that there's some special sodium. He's like, no other burgers will fill you out like McDonald's.
See, I never get, my consultations are never like bodybuilders. They're health people. But some of them have had consultations with Palumbo. And the crap I hear is like ridiculous. Like, he says things like, I mentioned before, like organic food is not healthier than non-organic food for sure, which is not true. I mentioned this before. Many other things like, then I started to notice, I never wanted to comment on it, but the guy, it's become famous now, so I can say it. The guy feeds his kids just junk all day, just candy. He films it too. The guy films it. It's just constant candy. Like, really? Do you not like your family? Like, you don't care at all about people's long-term health? And he said something funny. Once he said on his show, he said, when I was a kid, I heard this. He said, when I was a kid, someone told me that when you grow older, all your friends die. And he said, I hope so. I don't want to be the one who dies first. This is the way the guy thinks, He said this recently on his show. Yeah. So.
I think Dave over the last couple of years has lost his mind, to be honest with you. Before he was married, Leo, like I knew him in 2012, 2013, like before he was even had a girlfriend.
Well, that was
way before, man. 2012, 2013, he didn't even know who his wife was.
I didn't know that.
And he was single. He was in New York, and that's when me and Ariella, we drove up in 2014. We did the podcast. I swear, I promise you, he was not like this. Something happened.
Interesting.
The kids, marriage, I don't know. Something happened.
But go look at Nasser's article about him on bodybuilding.com. Nasser freaking hated him, called him a liar, a backstabber, everything he said about him. And it turned out all to be true years later.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what's crazy is, like, since you mentioned that he's gone insane, I definitely believe this, because a couple of years ago, I don't know, Boston, if you remember this, but or maybe Leo or Bleu, you guys remember this, but he posted a video on his RX channel, and it was see if you can swallow 30 pills at one time.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He's very proud of his ability to not gag, by the way. He's always like, I have no gag reflex. I'm like, bro, how'd you test that? How did you test it, though?
Oh, man.
No, man, he's lost his mind, man. The marriage is not... one of the guys I know, Johnny Styles, who used to do everything for him film-wise.
He commented on our video.
He used to live with Dave. Him and Dave were best friends. They did everything together. He moved with Dave to Florida. Dave ended up kicking him out. Johnny Styles came down to my house before he moved out to Boca, and he told me everything that was going on in that household. And obviously, I'm not going to spill Dave's personal information, but he's not in a happy place, man. And I truly feel bad for him. He's not in a happy place.
I didn't know that. I thought he was happy. Just didn't give
up. No, man. He's not doing well.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But Johnny commented on our video about him, by the way. I saw Johnny Styles commented. I remember he used to be his producer.
Yeah. So Johnny Styles and him were best friends, and they got into like a physical altercation where his wife went crazy on Johnny, and Johnny was living with them, and so he witnessed everything in their relationship. Wow. And obviously Johnny came down here and told me everything that was going on, and I'm like, wow, man, I feel bad for David.
Now you're making me feel sorry for him. I don't want to feel sorry for him. He tried to destroy my channel, man. Fuck that guy. Fuck him.
Yeah, but dude, it backfired on him though.
Yeah, you can. Well, thank God. He could have destroyed. What if he did destroy it? And
how would he have destroyed it?
He tried to get everybody not to come on my channel.
Yeah, but who cares? I mean, Lee Priest knew that was garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it is garbage. Yeah, but I think he gets paid, to be honest. That's why he's there. Mm-hmm. I really think so. Yeah. Anyway, brother, thank you for calling in. It was nice speaking to you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really support what you guys are doing. I hope you continue to do that, and a huge fan here.
Hey, let's leave it on a positive note. Who's your favorite coach that you worked with?
Favorite coach that I've worked with? There's a guy named, his name is Matt. I've worked with him in the past. I'll just leave it at that.
Not Matt Jansen, right?
No, God, no.
Oh, then what's his last name?
His name is Matt Seacrest.
Okay, I haven't heard of him.
Mm-hmm. He was a local coach here where I live, but it was way back. That's kind of who I learned training from, and how to push myself and whatnot. So I give him a lot of credit for sure for that.
That's awesome. All right, brother. We'll talk to you. Well, thank you for calling in. I guess we'll talk to you on the comment section. Bye bye.
Sounds good. Bye bye.
That was interesting. Well, that's exactly like the thing that Nick Trigilli wanted me to release, all the programs that he has. Well,
you'd only have to release one program.
Oh, that's so true.
We have another guy. Do we have another guy calling now, Blue?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Man, so many people want to come on and tell their thing, so I just pick different ones. There's so many people. If your story's good and it, and it's genuine, contact me or Leo or Boston and let us know. It's just you're completely anonymous.
Bleu, did the guy contact you about Trigilli?
No.
Trigilli is back on YouTube, by the way, Boston.
He told me he was going to email you about a story from Trigilli.
Oh, bro, I got a story about Trigilli and Viz emailed. I showed it to you, Boston. You saw that one?
Which one?
Viz and Trigilli, the guy who's friends with both of them from years ago.
Oh, yes, I did. He's
like, both of them are pieces of crap. I cannot say anything good about either of them. I know them very well. That was funny. But yeah, people listen. For people who are listening to this, it's not all negative. Think about it this way. First of all, we're trying to figure out if these stories are just like biased things or if they're true. Like here in the Palumbo's case, we see multiple things that we know are true about Palumbo. So, you know what I mean? But the other thing is this, even if these stories slightly harm a coach's reputation, what they can do for the industry is up the bar. If people know that coaches do this, when you get a coach doing this, you can tell them, hey, listen, I want something. I told you my stomach hurts. It's a serious issue. I don't want to develop Palumboism by forcing the food into my stomach like you did. So, you can say these things and they'll have to up their game. But when people don't get to report their experiences, don't you think, Bleu?
Yeah. If this saves one person's life, it's absolutely worth it. That's my whole thing. You don't have to hire me. You don't have to hire any of us. Just do your research. If this saves you time and money, but most of all, your life. This is absolutely worth it. When these people contact me, and are telling me like very, specific, personal things about, being in the hospital scared and, something's going on with their kidneys, and.
Oh shit. I'm gonna get more information for you guys, but one of Matt Jansen's clients just had a heart attack.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll find out more information and we could go into detail. But I just found out that one of my friends is buddies with him, and Jansen was training him. He just had a heart attack. But obviously, I don't blame that on a coach ever, unless the guy was doing something stupid. But I just wanted to bring that to light.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with people. A lot of young bodybuilders getting. I can't remember what I was thinking about just now, but a few people recent last 3 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's you never know in this game, man. I mean, you could take the wrong drug and be fucked up. You never know.
So IKC asked. I asked before, but I'll repost. What are Bleu and Bostin's favorite T3 and Clen protocols for contest prep, assuming somebody starts at a normal off-season body fat at around 12 to 14%? Since we've been talking about Clen and T3, how do you guys approach it?
You want to go first? Actually, I'll go first. So 12.5 T3 before bed. And then I do start off with 20 mcgs of Clen in the morning, right when you wake up. That's the starting dose. And I only raise it if I need to.
Yeah, 12.5 is just for people to understand. T3 directly modulates your heart rate. Directly. So like if you take 50 milligrams of T3, you'll just watch your heart rate rise. It'll immediately rise.
And then if I have somebody do DNP, I'll have them do 12.5 T3 at night with the DNP.
How much DNP, Boston, when you did your long, like 30-day DNP things, how much were you using?
Just one capsule, 200 milligrams, real low.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever used like 50?
Yeah, so I tapered up. I started off at 50, 100, 150, 200.
What's the max you ever did? I
tried on the Denitros, which was the strongest shit I've ever used. I got up to like 600, and I was just like, I couldn't even function.
I did 600 on Tony's.
Yeah, but that's not. But
that was not as strong. I know.
Oh, you'd be fucked up on that shit.
No, it's very dangerous. Yeah, but you feel like it's not worth it unless it's and you hold so much water.
Yeah, you look like shit while you're on it. See, like Tony Hughes did an experiment where he did like 1,000 milligrams. But I'm telling you now, like it wasn't the same 1,000 from Denitro. It must have been some watered down shit because there's no way you could handle that much.
What about you, Bleu? How do you usually go about just organizing your Clen and T3 use in pre-contest season with people that are not abnormally fat?
Honestly, it just depends on the person.
It's very varied.
I try to hold off, but I'm big on like T4. Also because I like my guys using growth hormone. But, like Boston was talking about earlier, with certain individuals, a little bit of DNP, honestly, is pretty damn safe if it's low dose.
It is safe if it's low dose.
Yeah, absolutely. Clen, and, where these guys are getting their stuff, you don't really know where. And the peptide stuff usually works, but it's all really underdosed. So, when you tell them,
or overdosed.
Yeah, the Clen, I've seen some overdose. But usually, like the thyroid stuff is usually pretty underdosed, and so, you just have to, play with it accordingly. It just depends on the person. You
definitely want pharmaceutical grade tabs and prep.
You guys don't use all day chemist for T3?
If my guys are in contest prep, mandatory, they have to go through Clear Sky Pharmacy. Mandatory.
Yeah, Clear Sky, exactly.
Because they have Clen tabs on that site too.
Did they really? I didn't know.
Yeah, they have pharmaceutical Clen tabs.
Have any of you ever tried salmeterol? It's a more selective kind of version of Clen. Have you ever heard of it?
That's what isn't it called salbuterol or something?
No, salbuterol is the inhaler one. Salmeterol is another version.
I got some shit called something like that from a source on my forum. It's in pill form, but I never tried it.
Interesting. Okay, so Yeah, okay, this is an interesting question. Adrian Zilla says, could you break down the differences between orals, halotestin, anadrol, dianabol, superdrol, in its effects compared to the injectable forms of these compounds? I've only used injectable anadrol. It felt almost the same to me, but longer It felt, to be honest with you, longer acting.
But the injectable version is less stress on your digestive system for sure, though.
Yeah, and you can eat and
exactly.
But did you feel the effects to be different from? You told me injectable dianabol was different.
Yeah, well, the only reason it's different probably is because I could run it at a higher dose and not have any side effects like that.
But did you aroma? Was it like as watery as dianabol?
I hold the water. I hold the. I don't know. It's hard to say, man. I'm always about the same watery no matter what I take. You know what I mean?
So, Boston, one time I was going to the LA Fitness Expo, and I wasn't on much stuff. I was on like 300 milligrams, and I had a physique, but I wanted to take. You know, when you go to an expo, you have to take something. So I was going to the arm wrestling competition. So I took a couple of dianabols, and then I went there, and I see my pictures afterwards. I was a water buffalo. Within like 4 hours, I turned into this just watery guy. Didn't look like I had any muscle. I was like, what the hell is this? What did I do to myself? You know, funny story. Hey, by the way, when you guys take Tren, do you start sweating when you eat carbs?
A lot of people get that, yeah.
My wife was telling me yesterday, she was complaining because she's having her contractions right now. So like maybe tomorrow's the delivery. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to let this guy in. But my wife was telling me when she's sleeping, she starts getting night sweats. She's never had them in her life. She's like, what is this? I'm like, my God, I know exactly what it is. She's like, no, you don't. You've never been through a pregnancy. I said, I took Tren. So I was like, I used to sleep wet. The whole bed would be wet. And then when I used to work, hey, by the way, caller, we know you're here. Just 1 second. When I used to go to work, I would be on Tren at the private equity firm, and at work they would go eat some junk like shitty food for lunch. So I would go eat rice and chicken, this much rice from this Arabic place, and I'd walk back in the heat in Dubai sweating.
Yeah, you'd be.
Had to take off my. So embarrassing.
Dude, no matter what people say, I think Tren speeds your metabolism up for sure.
So much. Yeah. Anyway, caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, so I guess, just to lay it down, I've worked with one of those coaches that kind of fucked me in a prep. And I'll just go into detail on how it kind of all went down. I'm kind of new into bodybuilding and, just kind of, I've been lifting for a good while. So I've already built my foundation and stuff. So, like anybody else, go on the internet, go on Instagram, looking for a coach. And so Spill Viz is the guy that you're all familiar with. And, yeah, I mean, as I found out, he's a neurotic. Pretty much I know it all. It's either my way or the highway. And I'm kind of one of the ones that just likes to follow a plan and execute. I don't need the fucking drama or any of the other additional bullshit. But, I think something was off, and I felt it off. I had lower back pumps towards the tail end of my show, and it just felt off. And he was like, oh, dude, you're fine. You just suck it through. Just suck it up or whatever. And, dude, I can suck it up through any kind of pain and all that shit while I'm training. Doesn't bother me, but I felt completely off. So I went to go get my blood work. And, of course, your blood work isn't going to be the best a couple of weeks out from the show. I get that. But like shit, my liver enzymes were fucking elevated through the roof. My kidneys and shit. I don't know. When I told it to him, he was like, "Oh, it's high to you're fine. You're perfectly fine. The dosage that you were taking, mind you, I was probably on 100 mgs of Winnie a day on top of the Halo test. I think it were 40 milligrams." On the, the androgens, what is it, trend, like I think it was 125 to 150 every other day. I mean, I already knew I was fucking up there in the fucking dosages, but, like me, I just, I'll suck it through. But, again, I felt completely off, and he was like, oh, dude, you're perfectly fine. Those ranges are fine for what you're taking. He was like, I'm honestly surprised, anybody else. I mean, for what you're taking, it's good, but that didn't like resonate with me. I was like, nah. And so I continued. I pulled back on the orals, but that was one of the other things, man. It's like, if something's off and you tell that to a coach, you should be like, okay, let's push it back a little. No, this guy was like, let's fucking push it through. just so he can make himself look good, on fucking IG and all that shit, man. I'm just like, dude, your client comes first. Someone tells you something's off, you listen to them. You just don't tell them to fucking do the show. Hey, let's do another show. But that was another thing. He'd always push me into doing shows. I was like, dude, I need to build my fucking physique, man. I'm not trying to, go for the experience or any of that bullshit. But that was one thing. And like anything other else, I know this guy's been fucking prepping. I was trying to get a fucking update. Wouldn't hear back from him a couple of days. The only time I'd hear from him when he was asking for fucking ketamine or fucking Xanax. Like,
I knew it. I knew it the whole time. I knew he was using. I knew this. I could sense it. I specifically.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fucking put all that shit out there or whatever. But it's,
no, bro. Listen. Don't feel bad about. Wait a minute. Don't feel bad about putting his stuff out there, because this guy actually sends us stuff about other coaches and asks us to say it on our show to hurt them. Private information from their private lives. He's not a guy that like. No, don't feel bad.
Trust me, I don't like throwing, and that's what I consider him. I consider him a friend up until like whenever my health kind of went down the fucking toilet. That's just when all the kind of, my girlfriend was telling me like, hey, you should probably, tone it down, or, I was getting some like advice from other people that I respect, and they were kind of telling me, hey, pull back on the show. There's no, because my always thing was just like pulling out, and I just hated the feeling of quitting, and he made me feel like, oh, dude, if you don't do it, like you're a pussy, kind of doing that little good cop, bad cop type of shit to make you feel bad. And granted, I'm not that type of person to be, talked to like that. So I had to see it through, man. But man, when your health, like I said, it takes a dip, and, him being a neurotic, it's not a good coaching experience, man. I can tell you that. And it sucks because there's a lot of young guys that he coaches, they don't fucking know any better. And they're just listening to this fucking guy.
Let me ask you this. I noticed that I get a lot of complaints about Phil Viz when he's in prep. I just had a client hire me the other day from Phil because he says, hey, I need a new coach because my coach just completely went haywire the last few weeks on, obviously, as we know, he's getting ready for USAs. Do you notice a big change in him as a person when he gets ready for shows?
Hell of a big change. Hell of a big change. Like I said, 3 or 4 days, and I'm prepping for a show too. No matter how big or small the show is, like if you're coaching people, give them the fucking respect. Give them like at least 5. And I'm not one of those guys that's asking red apple or fucking green apple. Trying to ask like, hey, are we taking a step in the right direction? All I need is a thumbs up or thumbs down, and I'm ready to rock. I don't need all that shit. But it's like whenever I expect to ask something like that, like I don't need the fucking 2 or 3 days later, I'm going to work on your change. Never get back to me. And then the next message is just, hey, bro, can you help me out with some Xanax or whatever? I'm like, dude, I don't need to hear that shit.
See, Leo, I told you, man, I had so many emails within the last maybe 5-6 weeks because he's getting ready for USAs. I had a client already hire me because they said that Phil in prep turns into a complete maniac.
Bostin was trying to make excuses for Phil being such a, I don't even know how to describe it.
I don't know how outlandish, some of the protocols, everybody has their own shit, man. But even me doing, 2 or 3 IUs for cardio, 0 carbs, dude, I'm going to go fucking hypo. Like, that's just how my body is.
That's what he does. So, he has this guy's 2 IUs of insulin pre-cardio. It makes no sense.
And that's what, you try to, I say something like that. And I'm not fucking well-versed on how the fucking chemicals work in here. But I'm like, dude, who the fuck is doing that? Nobody. Like, everyone sticks to the fucking basics, does basic shit. It's just consistency. That's the biggest thing. And what struck me the most out of all this shit, though, was he was like, you wouldn't have done so well if it wasn't without me. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. That strike, that just
does have an ego.
I'm like,
he has a hell of an ego.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Did you end up finishing the show?
Oh yeah, I did well. And of course it was more him pushing me to do another show. I know I'm not fucking ready. I got a decent physique. I just need to be on that next level shit. Like, there's a lot of people just because they win a show, they think they're fucking ready for nationals and all that shit. Like, they're not ready for nationals, and I even fucking knew that. You just wanted another athlete to be like, hey, look, I got a guy doing USAs or North Americans. He just likes that shit. He likes the clout. He just doesn't know how to fucking coach, man.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I know who this is. I've seen your physique. I actually do think you would do well at national level. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's decent. I know I got a lot of improvements to make, but in my head, I'm trying to, be the best version of myself. So I don't need somebody just fucking sugarcoating it, telling me, hey, do the next fucking show. I'm like, dude, I need to take some time. You know what I mean?
No coach should try to pressure you to do a show like that. And like you said, man, you have to go at your own pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not rushing to fucking poison myself. This is a fucking marathon. And the pro card, if it ever falls in my lap, it's always going to be there. But I think I listened to Hunter Labrada said it best. He was like, just chase a pro physique. The pro card will come if it'll come, but just chase that physique. And that's, really what I'm trying to, but you have this guy just telling you, hey, just do the next show. I'm like, dude, get over that shit, man.
Yeah. He wanted to add you to his pro card list.
Yeah. And that's why you see a lot of guys, they come and go with them. And I thought, for a second, I'm like, oh, why is that guy with, there's just some clients or guys that fall into his lap and, he'll post the fuck out of them. And, someone that doesn't know any better, they're like, oh, I guess he's, he does coach this guy, but he pretty much cherry picks clients is what I've noticed.
But one thing I didn't get clear is, I know you don't remember the numbers, but do you remember any of the numbers of because you said lower back pumps. That's what scared me.
I'd love to hear the creatinine number.
Yeah, the creatinine is what I was trying to figure out. Yeah.
Let me pull it up. I have all that shit.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, thank you. I'm very curious.
Okay, I got it right here. So my glucose was 103. 70 to 99.
Just creatinine, ALT, and AST at least.
Okay, so 1.52. I don't know how high that is. The alkaline phos. I don't know what that is.
Your ALT.
Alkaline phosphatase.
Yeah.
So that was 119.
Ooh, it's
AST.
Oh, okay.
AST 64, and my ALT was 123. So that was like double.
Wow. Wow.
So.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when your ALT is much higher than your AST, it means something. By the way, they're different when AST is higher than ALT, or they're reverse. You're in a state of extreme toxicity.
I wouldn't be worried about. I wouldn't be worried about your kidneys though. The kidneys are fine.
The kidney is fine, and also the liver. Just to mention, like 100. That's very like my liver value. Just to put perspective, is 15, and I'm taking pre-workout androgens recently. I take 3 a week or so. It's still maximum goes to 20. So when you're at 100, that is something, but it's usually a brother.
Yeah, so it's not anything like fucking critical, but the fact that it's just.
But you should care, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, dude, I need to understand this for myself, not for you to brush it on the rug. I'm like, I'll fucking listen to fucking A to Z, man. Just let me know that I'm on the right track, and that was kind of like something like I know that we're trying to achieve this goal, dude, but my fucking health comes first before all this, Bro,
he should have reassured Leo. Don't you think he should have reassured him? Like, listen, we're at the end of prep. You're on a bunch of orals. Your liver enzymes are going to be elevated, but once you get off, we're going to do a nice little detox, and we're gonna and that'll come down. Now, the good thing about the liver is it does repair itself, man. So you don't really have to worry about that too much until it gets really high. But at least your kidneys are good.
I have 2 thoughts. I mean, the first one is.
Oh, and another thing too is we kind of I'm the fucking the fuck who this is. Anyways, I really don't give a fuck. But
no, we don't know. Just Bostin.
Oh, I know he'll know, but I know that. But fuck him though. He whenever COVID happened, I hadn't fucking trained in 4 to 5 months, and this goes to show you as a show pusher, trained in 4 or 5 months. He's like, hey, we can get you ready for a show in like 10 weeks. And I'm like, shit, whatever, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, I was so itching because I had been prepping to do a show. And so I'm prepping. I was like, okay, I'll do it, man. Dude, you hear horror stories about DMP and all this shit and know how to use it, man. Dude, I tell you what, dude, first, someone getting new in bodybuilding, you shouldn't be pushing that shit. Of course, I'm like, oh, okay, like, just learning about that shit, bro. That shit shouldn't even be used, man.
Wait, Phil is anti-DNP, right?
Oh no, he's for it.
Really? Wow. Yeah. He's a phony. Yeah.
And dude, I'm not even trying to like look. He said it. I'm not gonna say like I had to say yes, and obviously I had to get it to take. You know what I mean? So I'm not putting all that shit on him. I'm just trying to look out for people that are if they like, hey, we can get you this fucking shredded, just trust me.
Oh, that was for the 10-week thing. You want to do it quickly.
But that's crazy though, because Phil has always been like anti that.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's just like, dude, we're gonna preach something, but that's besides the point. He, like, just for anybody listening, man, dude, just fucking, just be cautious about that shit. If you, of course we want to do anything to fucking win, but like, dude, literally fucking, your health comes first, and you shouldn't have to be pressured into doing something you don't want to. That's the more of what I got,
How did he have you run the DNP?
I believe it was 400 the first 2 days, and then I think for 3 weeks it was 200 milligrams every day.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing too crazy, but then again, it's just I hadn't been fucking training, or I was off cycle, man, and fat as fuck, and then I'm doing all this shit off the bat. You know what I mean?
What did you say your ALP was?
My ALT was 123.
That's high.
Your ALP?
ALT, yep.
Oh, the first one is the ALP. No, the first one that he said was the ALP.
AST is 64. My ALT was 123.
Did you say T or P?
He said
T.
The ALP was 119.
ALP was
So
19.
my impression, by the way, just to give my impression, I've spoke to Phil actually extensively privately. For those that don't know, Phil asked to be on my show 6 months ago, very long time ago, before me and Bostin started the podcast regularly. I didn't want to have him on, so I dodged him. But he talked to me a lot in the meantime. He posted a story about me, did a bunch of things, and we talked. And then he tried to attack. So I know the guy a little bit. My impression of the guy is unbelievable selfishness, to the degree where I thought he's a drug addict. I was like, there's no way somebody sober is talking to me in this kind of selfish way. Like total disregard for anybody else, including myself, in his own world, talking to me neurotically.
Yes, that's him. That's him.
The other thing I noticed about him is so selfishness, and then also like total instability. Now, he does the things that you mentioned here, like in terms of his techniques, like DNP at a low dose is not very damaging by itself. But the impression that I got from your story is he's basically using you as a pawn to further his career.
He wants
disregard for yourself.
He wants the clout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't mind that. If you're helping me, I'll help the fuck out of you. And I really don't. I'll support you. You support me. Help me, guys. Like I'll, post me up. I don't care. That's gonna help your business grow. But if one of the first things, like if you're not even updating me, and him asking, like I remember I was like asking him for an update, and he goes, "What are your stats? How much do you weigh? What's your height?" And he's not even answering my question. But yet, 2 seconds later, he's posting up on fucking Instagram. I'm like, dude, come on, man. What kind of shit is that?
He's been messaging me a lot on Instagram lately, and just like Leo says, he's just like he's self-absorbed. That's a perfect word.
Well, don't you think it's deeper than that though? I truly believe there's a mental disorder.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
I believe
absolutely. Like I feel bad for the dude. I truly believe he has a mental illness because
for sure.
The way he acts is so off.
No, he has a mental illness. He's displaying like generalized anxiety disorder, neuroticism, maybe something worse. But the thing is this, Bleu, the question is not that. He has a mental illness. The question is, did he induce it by drug use? Because the impression I got from he's so unstable. He strikes me as a crackhead, to be honest. I think he might smoke crack. I don't know if he obviously doesn't really smoke crack.
I told you when I met him in person, he was super jittery and antsy.
Jittery, he's moving around. He can't stay stable. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, that just strikes me off of the whole Adderall, methamphetamine. I didn't even know what ketamine was, so you had messaged me about that shit.
Yeah, him and Nitrogilly, they used to abuse ketamine together. That's how I think.
I couldn't believe that drug. Remember, Leo? I took that drug and it wiped me out. I couldn't even get off the couch.
I don't like it, to be honest. I don't
make me feel like shit.
Someone sent some to me randomly, and I tried it. It was not really pleasant.
Try to jack off on it.
Does it not work? Does it totally...
My dick was just floppy, but I was coming.
No, that's the worst kind. I hate that. Oh my God. All right. Well, caller, thank you for calling in. We hope you find a coach that cares about you, brother, because you're putting your health at, you're putting your health at risk, with what you do. So the person should, if they don't. And by the way, the other thing about Phil, he thinks he knows more than he knows. Like he messaged me that we were talking about something before this, like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, I said, T3 may have anabolic effects on muscle. I'm not talking about like, oh, I tried T3, I grew. I'm talking about there's a weird scientific mechanism by which it may have anabolic effects when you combine it with GH and other things. I mentioned that.
That's what Milo says. Yeah.
Phil responds to me, says, nope, T3 has no anabolic effects. I'm like, dude, you think you read a book before? You don't know shit. What are you talking about? You're not Chad Nichols that knows what he's doing there either. So you're not the empiricist, and you're not the guy that reads. Shut up and learn from me. I'm trying to teach you for free. But I stopped responding to me.
Actually, Phil just deleted one of my comments recently because he put a guy on the Tampa Pro stage really soft, and I made a comment. I said Phil posted this guy, and he says, "Oh, he needs to be fuller." So I commented. I said he does not need to be fuller. He needs to be in better shape. And Phil obviously deleted the comment right away. And I don't know, man. His guys never seem to really come peeled. They're always a little spongy.
And that was my whole thing was coming in condition, man. That was but it's just I even got mad that he didn't want to quote unquote peak me because he was trying to get me ready for the next show. And I was just, like I said, just pissed because there's always a fucking hidden agenda behind him. And like I think Leo, you said it was kind of like using me as a pawn. And it was just kind of fucked up all around.
He's tried to use me as a pawn too, but I'm more intelligent than him. It's like this dumb guy trying to use me, and I'm watching him trying to use me. I'm like, dude, you look disgusting. You're immoral. What are you doing?
I'm the dumber guy.
Because he's trying to.
You got brain and shit, So you're just kind of following along.
Yeah.
It's because he's trying to create like new content, new stuff. I mean, like he knows how I am. I'm huge on the resume. All he does is talk. That's all talk. He maybe trains 10 people. You know what I'm saying? The rest, all he does is post himself talking and workout clips. It's all talk.
You notice though, nobody comments on his stuff anymore, though. I think they have all realized.
No, because everybody knows he's mental. Everybody feels bad for him, And I know he'll get upset with this, but it's the truth. I mean,
no, he can get upset, man. He wronged our podcast. That's unacceptable. He asked to come on the podcast. I didn't ask him. He asked Bostin. I would never let him. Yeah. He asked Bostin. Bostin agreed without. Just said, "You okay with Phil?" For Bostin, of course, I agree. Then he tells us one day before, "I'm not coming. I have a show." The hell do I know about your show, man? You asked to come on my show, and he wronged us. So there's nothing about him getting upset. He should get upset. He deserves it. If messed up our show for no reason. Wacky guy.
Yeah. Well, I hope in time that he gets the mental health that the help that he needs.
He needs to go to
reality check
sober.
From USA. I know that.
I bet he'll be in the last call outs.
Yeah, he'll come up with some excuse, man. That guy's a fucking book of excuses, man. So he'll blame something.
He'll blame Boston.
He'll blame me again like he did last time. He made a post saying I'm the reason why he spilled over.
Are you serious?
He made a post on Instagram saying that I am the reason he spilled over.
How are you the reason? I don't understand.
Because he said that I stressed him out. Yeah.
You provided.
I thought you were going to say because he missed a flight, or that was a different.
Oh no, that was a couple years ago when he missed the flight.
That's hilarious.
His last showing at USA's. No, his last showing at Nationals. I think it was Nationals. That's when he was like, "Oh, Boston Lloyd stressed me out and shit." Because I called him. All I said was that he's going to look like a dried apricot.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you saw the last show. I'm like, if you're going to talk the talk, do the walk, man. It was just kind of embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
Oh God, man! When I saw that shit, I was like, "Come on, man."
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, brother, thanks for calling in. We really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, man. All right, thank you.
Talk soon. Thank you. Bye bye. All right, guys. So we have one more caller, but I think he's late. Do you guys want to? We've been here a long time. You guys want to end it early?
You want to? If he's
continue next time.
If he's not calling in, can we get him on the next one? Who is he calling in for?
This dude has been texting me a couple times because he was waiting to call in or whatever, but I told him to wait, that this call was going a little longer, so he'll be calling any second.
Oh, yeah, let's have him on then.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was late. Oh, Bleu is managing this really well. Thank you, Bleu. Bleu, you have so much like costume artifacts in your house. It's like very entertaining. Every time that I see you in a different position, this looks like a museum, actually.
Yeah, you can kind of see him.
I need to. By the way, Blue, which state do you live in?
Oregon.
Oh, you told me Oregon.
Yeah, in Oregon.
Is it okay there? Is it safe where you live and calm?
Yeah, because I'm on like the outskirts. Like I'm not like everybody thinks of Portland. That they've heard about that on the news and how liberal it is and how crazy it is. But I'm nowhere near that.
I hear that some of the outskirts are like, I don't know if this is real, but they're trying to like leave Oregon. I don't know if that's true or it's just some crazy.
There is some people. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, are like heading to Texas, heading to Florida. I mean, like the state.
No, they say they're like counties trying to leave the state.
Oh, really?
That yeah, I don't know if it's true. Hey, welcome, caller. Sorry for the delay.
No problem.
Welcome to the show. Well, what did you want to?
Thanks
What's
for
the story?
Yeah, so hey, I just want to say real quick, I really appreciate y'all doing this segment because, hopefully it saves, at least even one person from dealing with bullshit like I know I've gone through.
You're very welcome.
So, yeah, the guy who I dealt with, a guy down here, I'm based out of Houston, Texas, a guy named Kash Guidry, who I had stumbled across just throughout my I had seen him in there, training a handful of people and, found him on Instagram, tried to do, what basic research I could on him as far as, like the people he trains, what they're looking like and what kind of, regimen he puts them through. This was my first experience trying to find a coach. And so I thought I had all the information that I needed, but, I went ahead and got I paid for a little 6-month plan altogether. Honestly, it wasn't crazy expensive. I paid about $500, and then some extra on the sides when I would do a few personal sessions that I did with him. But it was supposed to be a 6-month thing. I got about a month into it and, at that point, like I just could not get this guy to respond to anything, not a text message, not, on Instagram, nothing. And, I talked to him about it in the gym like once before and he just kind of blows it off, oh, I'm, busy, I've always got clients, yada, yada. He just, dismisses it. And then it gets to the point where, you just stop hearing from him. I actually see the guy like frequently, like multiple times a week at the gym still.
Oh God.
And and this is after he has ripped off literally other people within the same gym. And, he continues to get away with it for whatever reason. I personally have had a lot going on in my life not even past year, just since the beginning of the year here. And, I kind of just called it as a loss. I've taken much bigger losses than $500 before. So, I'll brush the cash off and, move on to the next thing. But, it just blows my mind that this dude continues to get away with it. And, after he had ripped off another one of the guys at the gym, a regular there, this guy kind of snapped a little bit and, went and, deep dove online, pulling up any information he could on Kash. And, there's apparently just review after review after review. I think I saw back to like 2015 or something of, it's the classic story. I paid him for a prep. Never heard from him again. I asked several people within my gym, after I got screwed over, their opinion of him, and it was the same story again. There was, I got told a story about a guy who literally, was at the gate at the airport boarding his plane to go to his contest, and could not get Kash to respond to anything. Just completely ghosted him like on his peak week. And, it just blows my mind that he gets away with this.
If it makes you feel any better, I've gotten many emails about this guy doing the same shit to everyone.
Oh, you guys know him?
Oh yeah, Kash Guidry. You know how he got his name, Leo?
How?
He was the first one to ever train Sadiq.
Oh.
And he got his following from that. And that's the only reason why his coaching name blew up, was because he was the original guy that trained Sadiq. And then he started taking on all these clients, and he just started taking their money. And this guy's done this to so many people.
Oh, he's like a Trigili type of ghoster. Like he just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, nobody beats Trigili, but this guy, but yeah, this guy's bad.
So from my understanding, this guy, because I don't know a lot about him, just basically like he does their workouts and then he tries to be like a wannabe coach. Like, what is his thing? Like he does coaching on the side, but then he puts like the bigger name guys just their workouts. Like I heard he's just a coach who does workouts for people. I don't know nothing about him.
Yeah, you can flip through his Instagram and see that it's, his same. He's probably got a whole total of 3 clients that he's willing to post. And, that'll be his couple of Olympia competitors that he works with, and, maybe another person here and there.
Now when you say work with them, does he just do their workouts? I heard he just like personal trains these guys and then they do their own thing with somebody else.
Yeah, no. So that was, what else I was getting to is, he's not a coach at all in any shape or form of the word. This guy is nothing more than a glorified workout partner. That's all he is. I mean, he's there to help them get a couple extra reps in at the end and, holler and scream at them. And other than that, he's a freaking cameraman. Like, he's literally there just to record his stuff for his Instagram. And like, that's all the dude is good for.
Is he still fat as shit?
He is still a chubby motherfucker. Yeah.
That too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he looks like shit.
No, yeah, and there was a little while ago, he had like tried to start getting back into it. I'd catch him on the stairs and stuff like that, but I could tell that didn't last very long.
Fat trainer, this is hilarious.
Oh, he looks like shit. Leo, he has like this fat chin. Oh, he's fatter than Broderick.
By the way,
oh yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you this after. But Broderick has a relative, bro. In Boston, when I show you the picture, you're gonna die laughing. It's unbelievable. But I can't say what it is. But I'll tell you after. It's unbelievable. Anyway, you continue.
Yeah. So I mean, I got on with him, and he sent me my my diet plan, which I'm not gonna lie, it got me super lean, which makes a lot of sense because I was in the gym one day and I was actually eavesdropping on him talking to one of his bikini competitors, and I basically just stood there in the kitchen and listened to him, and I was on the exact same diet that his bikini competitor was on.
Wow.
And it blew my mind. I'm like, holy crap, like it doesn't get any more copy and paste than this dude right here. Literally it had the same amount of protein too? Yeah, well, he doesn't even have macros listed on there or anything. It's literally just meal one, I don't even remember what it was at this point, but maybe 80 grams oatmeal and, 6 or 7 egg whites, something like that.
Wow.
Literally just, meal one, here's what it is, and the weight. And his workouts that he sent me was the exact same thing too. I have never seen a sloppier workout program than what this dude sent me. It was literally just name of the exercise, and then afterwards, I had to assume they were reps, but it would just be, chest incline, 5, 8, 10, 12, 20. And like, that was literally like the whole workout, just the name of the exercise and some numbers that he didn't even decipher what they meant. I'm working with a new guy, right now who, I'm starting to realize like what an actual coach is, but yeah, I was under the impression that Kash was a coach when I went to, start working with him. And I had no idea that this dude is, like I said, literally nothing more than a glorified workout partner.
Well,
he literally doesn't do shit. He stands there on his phone the entire time you work out with him too. I mean, you're literally, paying, depending who you are, you're paying X amount of money. I think I was paying like $80 a fucking hour to work out with this guy. And dude just stands there on his phone the entire time, texting, but will ghost you the moment you text him about anything.
It's so funny, bro, because you see him at the gym and he uses his phone all the time. But then when you message him, he's just, hey, Boston, check your SMSs. Check your iMessage.
He'll literally walk right past me. He does not make eye contact with me at all. I mean, even the employees at the gym who, I mean, it's a smaller gym, it's not a big franchise or anything like that. So everyone knows everyone. And I've talked to the employees at the gym about it, and like they've noticed themselves. Like he'll walk right past me. He goes out of his way to like not even look in my direction.
That's interesting. Well, I'm glad you called in. I never heard about him before, but it sounds like it's good to popularize this. Maybe it'll save a lot of people money.
Yeah, I've had emails about him, so that's good.
I was wondering how he charged $500 for 6 months. I mean, that's if you're coaching somebody, it takes a lot of time. It can't be that cheap.
Right. And, I'm thinking he's just one of those guys, like, you see a lot of real coaches who I would say are real coaches, they have their cutoff limit for how much you can handle, how many clients they're going to take on. This dude will not say no to anybody. You're just, you're a walking piece of fucking dollar bill to him. And that's all it is. He'll say yes to absolutely anyone, take their money, boom, he's done with you.
Well, thank you for calling in, brother. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm glad somebody's doing a segment like this because I had no idea that the whole scamming thing was this rampant within the fitness industry until, you get hit by it yourself.
It is rampant. It is really rampant. There are really genuine scam artists. Yeah, they are. Yeah, thank you. Hey, well, let's leave it on a positive note. You said you're dealing with you've dealt with a better coach since then. Do you want to give a shout out?
I just don't know if it'll kind of narrow me down.
No. We'll leave it be. Oh, don't worry.
What do you mean by narrow you down?
People could figure out who he is.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Within my gym and stuff like that. But
okay.
Yeah, let's leave it.
And just keep it. Yeah, stay anonymous.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, Leo. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. So one last question before we end. And by the way, Boston, without saying
is that his son?
Bro, that's not his son. That's his version of Ariella.
No fucking way, dude.
I swear to God, bro. Listen, when they sent me the picture, I was talking to some of my friends from YouTube. I was like, that's a little gay. That's it. I don't know what to say.
Wait, are you saying that's a female?
That's a female.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, that was crazy. Anyway, we'll leave that. Hey, one last question I have for both Bleu and Boston. Do you guys know about this guy called Psycho Mike? Because he's sort of like a trainer, but he also coaches people also from California. Is he good?
You're talking about
Charles Glass's enemy.
You're talking about
the guy that Charles Glass worked with, and he worked with Sean.
Oh, okay. I've actually known him because I used to train at Gold's, and we've had a few conversations. He seems like a nice guy. I don't know much about him though.
He doesn't coach people usually, then, huh? It's just training.
I think it's just training in the gym. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a big dude. He used to work out with Chris Cormier. He used to compete back in the day.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Well, guys,
he trained Sean Roden.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a long call. Bleu, thank you. I cannot thank you enough, man, for organizing this. And for the audience to know, Bleu organized all the calls and managed it all. He's part of the podcast. We really appreciate it, Bleu. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah. Like I said, anybody can message any of us.
Yeah.
I just pick random people, there's so many people that want to share their story. Some stuff is a little out there. That's why I have to kind of screen things to make sure they're legit. Everything that these people have shared seems to be genuine. If you guys have a genuine story to tell, and if it's going to save somebody time, money, especially their life, then absolutely reach out, because the more that people are aware and do their research, the safer everybody is.
Absolutely. All right, guys, see you next week, Boston.
Yep. Yeah, sounds good, man.
Bye, guys.